마이크, 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 마이크.
유려하게 또 훌륭한 퍼포먼스 함께 보여주셨는데요. 4차 산업혁명에 정말 딱 걸맞는 새로운 예술 방식이죠. VR 드로잉을 통해서 강원도의 미래.
예, 영어 채널 테스트하고 있습니다. 하나 둘, 셋. 영어 채널입니다. 액화수소, 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길을 열다. 하나 둘. 테스트하고 있습니다. 하나 둘.
잘 알고 계시겠지만 올해 7월에 강원도는 국내 최초 액화수소 산업 규제 자유특구로 지정이 됐습니다. 그에 따라서 이 수소 융복합 클러스터 조성을 통한 이 특화 산업 육성 등 액화수소 산업 핵심 도시로 자리매김했습니다. 바로 오늘 이 자리 2020 강원 그린 뉴딜 국제 수소 포럼을 통해서 강원도 액화수소 산업 규제 자유특구 이전 기업 그리고 기관 강원도 함께 앞으로 멋진 다짐을 이어나가는 시간을 가져보도록 하겠습니다. 디지털 서명식 시간을 이어서 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 세팅이 거의 다 완료가 됐고요. 자, 그럼 제가 소개를 드리겠습니다. 소개에 따라서 단상으로 자리해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 도지사님, 기관, 기업대표 6분 단상으로 모시겠습니다. 자, 먼저 하이리움 산업 주식회사 김서영 대표이사님, 주식회사 JING 박인규 대표이사님, 주식회사 보고 임정욱 전무이사님, 주식회사 현대로템 이원상 상무님, 중소조선연구원 강병윤 원장님, 한국가스기술공사 고영태 대표이사님, 네, 그리고 마지막으로 강원도 최문순 도지사님 단상으로 모시겠습니다.
네, 이렇게 빠르게 해주시면 저희 의전 도우미 분들이 무대 위로 7분 올릴 거고요. 네, 저희 7분 무대 도열 완료했습니다.
네. 자, 강원도는 전국 최초로 액화수소 충전소 실증을 포함해서 에너지 그리고 벤츠 스타트업 등 혁신 기업을 도내에 유입하면서 동부가 수소 에너지 혁신 허브로 성장하는 데 많은 노력을 하고 있습니다. 기후변화 위기의 유일한 대안이죠. 액화수소. 이 액화수소 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길을 열다라는 행사 주제가 실현될 수 있도록 많은 노력을 함께 이 서명식에 담아보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 서명식 대표자분 그리고 협약의 메시지 제가 하나하나 소개해 드릴 때마다 힘찬 박수로 응원해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 이거는 어떻게 소개를 드리는 걸까요?
화면이 지금처럼 뜨면
네.
제가 표에 넣어드린 대로
그냥 소개만 드리면 될까요?
예를 들어 이렇게 해주시면 돼요. 네, 주식회사 하이리움 산업 국내 산업용 액화수소 제조 시설 1호 구축을 통한 액화수소 산업의 출발점 강원을 위해 협약해 주시겠습니다.
네네네. 그냥 쭉 소개만 드리면 되는 거죠. 네, 하이리움 산업 주식회사는 국내 산업용 액화수소 제조시설 1호 구축을 통한 액화수소 산업의 출발점 강원을 협력을 이 자리에서 함께하도록 하겠습니다. 아울러서 주식회사 JING 액화수소 충전소 확장을 통한 모빌리티 충전 생태계 혁신을 위해서 많은 노력을 해주시고자 노력해 주시겠다고 말씀드려 주시고요.
회장님 이거 좀 짧게 그냥 생태계 혁신을 위해 약속해 주시겠습니다. 다 이런 식으로.
제가 멘트 정리할게요. 네. 주식회사 보고 청정 액화수소 선박 실증을 통한 친환경 바닷길 개척을 약속해 주셨고요. 주식회사 현대로템 액화수소 철도 개발을 통한 대륙철도 연계 추진을 약속해 주셨습니다. 중소조선연구원 청정 바닷길을 위한 선박 기술 지원 그리고 기반 조성을 함께 해 주시기로 약속해 주셨고요. 한국가스기술공사 수소 항만 구축을 통한 액화수소 바닷길 개척을 약속해 주셨습니다. 자, 그리고 액화수소 산업을 위한 기업과 기관의 노력이 실현될 수 있도록 강원도 최문순 도지사님께서 액화수소 기반의 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길 조성을 위한 약속을 함께 해 주시겠습니다. 자, 이제 협력의 메시지의 서명을 해보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 단상 위에 계신 도지사님 그리고 대표님들께서는 디지털 서명펜을 들어주시기 바랍니다. 자, 액화수소 기반의 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길 조성을 위한 약속, 앞으로 미래에 꼭 만나볼 수 있기를 바라면서 서명을 부탁드리겠습니다. 자, 여러분 협력의 메시지에 이렇게 서명이 완료가 됐습니다. 다시 한번 힘찬 응원의 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 앞으로 강원도의 참여 기업 그리고 강원도의 열정과 도전 정신을 바탕으로 새로운 가치로 이어지기를 진심으로 응원하겠습니다. 자, 이제 단상에 계신 분들께서는 앞쪽을 봐주시고요. 사진 촬영 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋. 찰칵찰칵. 네, 고맙습니다. 자, 이제 단상 아래 자리로 모시겠습니다.
네, 사회자님, 저희 이거 기업들 위에 네, 7분 도열한 거부터만 다시 한번 쭉 가볼게요. 그리고 참고로, 네, 서명이 완료되었습니다 하면 저희 그 에어샷이 터질 거거든요. 네.
아까 그 서명, 전자서명을 어떻게 하시는 거예요? 그 밑에다가 하시는
그
거예요?
앞에 지금 위에 올라가 있는 거치대 위에 겔탭이 올라가 있고 거기다 서명을 하시면
아까처럼 이름이 LED 판에 나오는 거.
네.
LED 판에 나오면 끝이라고 생각하면 되겠죠?
네, 그러니까 사실 이게 실시간으로 사인은 아니고 앞에 사인을 하시면 틀어주실 거예요.
알겠습니다. 네.
여보세요? 그랜드 블록으로 보내줘요. 네. 네, 사회자님 다시 한번 해보겠습니다.
네. 네, 고맙습니다. 이러이러하게 또 멋진 퍼포먼스 보여주셨는데요. 미리 본 강원도의 미래의 모습 이러이러하게 보여주셨습니다. 대단히 고맙습니다. 이번 순서는 역시 분위기를 그대로 이어서 오늘의 하이라이트 순서 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 잘 알고 계신
멘트 이때 들어가면 될까요?
중부 동쪽 태백섬을 중심 강원도.
이거 멘트 중간중간에 그림 보고 들어가면 되나요?
근데 기자가 왠지 그래서 지원 혹시 오시면 이거 보세요. 그 기자가 와서 저 인터뷰가 되는지 그래서 많이 그냥 그런 걸 현장 갔다 오시다가 또 아까 그 포털에서 간단하게 질문을 하나
여기는 강원도 삼척 액화수소 도시입니다. 저희는 지금 강원도가 꿈꾸는 액화수소를 통한 미래 수소 도시에 있습니다. 강원도는 액화수소로 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길을 엽니다.
네, 원장님 올라가시고요.
하고 빵 하면
원장님
강원도
전달해드리고.
액화수소 산업을
그렇죠.
선도해서 동부가 에너지 혁신 허브로 성장하겠습니다.
네, 마지막 멘트 타이밍만 조금 늦춰주시면 되겠네요.
네.
네,
네,
박수.
여러분 뜨거운 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
네.
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 저희 이어서 디지털 세면시도 무대
네.
올라가는 것까지 해볼게요. 쭉 해주세요.
네, 이러이러하게 또 멋진 강원도의 미래 모습 함께 만나봤는데요. 정말 가슴이 설레는 것 같습니다. 피오니 작가님 그리고 강원 테크노파크 김성인 원장님께 다시 한번 뜨거운 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 무대팀들 이때 스탠바이 해주시면.
네, 고맙습니다. 자, 이러이러하게 또 VR 드로잉을 통해서 강원도의 미래 함께 만나봤는데요. 이 기후변화 위기의 해답이죠. 수소산업 육성을 통한
작가님 안
강원도의
내려오시나요?
노력이 결실을 맺게 됩니다.
무대팀 요 작가 내려오면 바로 올라가야 되거든요. 작가님이 끝나시고 인사하고 바로 내려오셔야 될 것 같아요. 타이밍이.
네.
무대팀 앞에 저 가운데 계신 마스크 쓰신 이사님이 타이밍 잡아주면 그때부터 그냥 올라가면 되고 사회자님은 그냥 멘트 계속 해주시면 돼요.
네, VR 드로잉 퍼포먼스 끝나는 부분부터 해드릴게요. 네, 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 강원 테크노파크 김성인 원장님 그리고 멋진 퍼포먼스 보여주신 피오니 작가님께 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 이러이러하게 또 말씀해 주셨는데요. 대단히 고맙습니다. VR 드로잉을 통해서 강원도의 미래를 미리 만나봤죠. 어떻게 보셨는지 궁금합니다. 이 강원도의 노력이 앞으로 결실을 맺을 수 있도록 이 자리를 통해서 함께 많은 응원을
무대팀은
부탁을
올리고
드리겠습니다.
나서 겔탭 켜져 있는 거 꼭 다 확인해야 돼요.
자, 이번 순서는 역시 오늘 행사의 하이라이트 순서라고 할 수 있는데요. 올해 7월에 국내 최초로 액화수소 산업 규제 자유특구로 지정된 강원도 수소 융복합 클러스터 조성을 통한 특화산업 육성 등 액화수소 산업 핵심 도시로 자리매김하고 있습니다. 바로 오늘 이 자리를 통해서 강원도 액화수소 산업 규제 자유특구 이전 기업 그리고 기관, 강원도의 협력을 함께 다져보는 의미 있는 시간 가져보도록 하겠습니다. 디지털 서명식 시간을 마련했습니다. 자, 도지사님, 기관, 그리고 기업 대표 6분 소개와 함께 단상으로 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 단상으로 모시겠습니다. 먼저 하이리움 산업 주식회사 김서영 대표 이사님, 주식회사 JING 박인규 대표 이사님, 주식회사 보고 임정욱 전무이사님, 주식회사 현대로템 이원상 상무님, 중소조선연구원 강병윤 원장님 네, 등단해 주시고요. 한국가스기술공사 구영태 대표이사님, 자 그리고 강원도 최문순 도지사님 단상 위에 마련된 자리로 안내를 부탁드리겠습니다. 자, 우리 강원도 전국 최초로 액화수소 충전소 실증을 포함해서 여러 가지 또 활동들을 하고 있는데요. 강원도형 수소 경제를 실현하기 위해서 그리고 동부가 수소 에너지 혁신 허브로 성장하기 위해서 많은 노력을 하고 있습니다. 이번 행사의 주제가 액화수소 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길을 열다이죠. 이 주제가 실현될 수 있도록 오늘 이 자리에서 우리 모두의 약속을 담은 서명식을 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 본격적인 서명에 앞서서 어떤 약속들을 함께 해 주셨는지 제가 소개를 드리겠습니다. 소개 드릴 때마다 여러분 뜨거운 박수로 함께 응원해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 자, 먼저 하이리움 산업 주식회사, 국내 산업용 액화수소 제조시설 1호 구축을 통한 액화수소 산업의 출발점 강원을 약속해 주셨습니다. 박수로 응원해 주시고요. 네, 주식회사 JING 액화수소 충전소 확장을 통한 모빌리티 충전 생태계 혁신을 함께 해 주셨습니다. 네, 주식회사 보고 청정 액화수소 선박 실증을 통한 친환경 바닷길 개척을 약속해 주셨고요. 주식회사 현대로템 액화수소 철도 개발을 통한 대륙철도 연계 추진을 함께 약속해 주셨습니다. 중소조선연구원 청정 바닷길을 위한 선박 기술 지원 기반 조성을 함께 해 주시기로 약속해 주셨습니다. 한국가스기술공사 수소항만 구축을 통한 액화수소 바닷길 개척을 약속해 주셨고요. 자, 그리고 액화수소 산업을 위한 기업과 기관의 노력이 실현될 수 있도록 강원도 최문순 도지사님께서 액화수소 기반의 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길 조성을 위한 약속을 함께 해 주셨습니다. 자, 이제 이 약속들을 실현해 보는 시간이겠습니다. 서명을 하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 먼저 단상 위에 계신 대표님들 그리고 도지사님 디지털 서명펜을 들어주시고요. 자, 액화수소 기반의 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길 조성을 위한 약속이 반드시 실현될 수 있도록 서명을 부탁드립니다. 자, 이렇게 서명이 완료됐습니다. 여러분 다시 한번 힘찬 응원의 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 고맙습니다. 오늘 이 자리를 통해서 이러이러한 협력을 다져보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 이제 기념사진 촬영을 진행하도록 하죠. 도지사님 그리고 대표님들 앞쪽을 향해서 봐주시고요. 사진 촬영 진행하도록 하겠습니다.
네, 거리두기도 있기 때문에 별도로 모이지 않고 그냥 딱 요 세팅으로만 사진 찍겠습니다.
네. 하나, 둘, 셋. 찰칵찰칵. 박수 부탁드리고요. 자, 이제 사진 촬영 마무리하면서 단상 아래 자리로 모셔보도록 하겠습니다. 자, MOU 디지털 서명식 함께 해주신 대표님들 그리고 도지사님께 다시 한번 감사 인사드리겠습니다. 단상 아래 자리로 모시겠습니다.
네, 무대팀 이제 바로 요거 빼주세요.
네, 고맙습니다. 이러이러하게 또 함께 서명식 진행을 했는데요. 개회식 여기서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 저희는 다음 순서를 위해서 잠시 단상을 정리한 후에 11시 15분부터 기조 강연 그리고 초청 강연으로 다시 인사드리겠습니다.
네, 가구 올리는 것도 해볼게요, 무대팀. 사회자님은 멘트 그냥 해주세요.
네. 자, 저희가 단상 정리하는 동안에 지난 10월
적이 되겠습니다. 바로 이 자리가 되겠습니다. 이곳에서는 액화수소 타운이 있고 관광단지도 있고 산업단지도 있습니다. 이곳에 사는 주민들은 수소 택시를 타고 수소 버스를 타고 출근하고 여기에서는 모든 에너지를 수소로 쓰기 때문에 이
This is English channel testing. This is English channel testing. Can you hear us okay? This is testing for English channel. This is testing of English channel for YouTube channel. Can you hear us okay? This is testing of English channel. This is testing of English channel. We are testing English channel. We are testing English channel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is English channel. This is English channel for 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. We are testing English channel for 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. Under the title of Gangwon opening the gate to sky, railroad, and sea. We are testing English channel for 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal. We'll get started with the opening ceremony of 2020 Gangwon Renewed International Hydrogen Forum at 10:30. Please make sure you put your cell phones into silent mode or turn them off. And also, I'd like to kindly ask you to wear facial masks throughout the ceremony as a proper quarantine measure against COVID-19. We'll get started with the opening ceremony of 2020 Gangwon Renewed International Hydrogen Forum as soon as we have guests enter into the ceremony hall. Thank you.
우주의 75%는 수소. 인류는 한 번도 쓰지 않았던 수소 에너지를 이용하기 시작합니다. 인류의 시작과 함께 살아난 탄소 에너지. 탄소 중심의 에너지는 태양광, 풍력의 재생 에너지를 거쳐 수소를 이용한 신에너지 세계로 들어서고 있습니다. 100년의 자동차용 연료, 이제는 수소로 달립니다. 이산화탄소 배출이 전혀 없는 수소 에너지, 지구는 친환경으로 달려갑니다. 강원도를 움직이는 수소 에너지. 그린뉴딜 핵심 사업은 액화수소 중심의 강원도.
액화수소 특구는 한국판 뉴딜과도 밀접히 연계되어 큰 시너지 효과를 낼 것입니다.
액화수소 산업의 인프라 구축과 산업 생태계를 조성하고 스마트 시티를 기반으로 효율적인 에너지 관리를 통해 동해권 에너지의 거점 도시로 성장하고 있는 강원도.
강원은 해외에서도 시작 단계인 액화수소 실증 사업을 국내 최초로 허용을 하게 되는 것이고요. 신산업을 창출을 해서 글로벌 수소 산업을 선도할 것으로 기대가 되고 있습니다.
강원도는 액화수소 규제 자유 특구 사업을 통해 수소 산업을 다시 한번 선도합니다. 강원도는 액화수소 제조와 이를 저장하여 원거리를 이동할 수 있는 액화수소 제조, 저장, 운송, 실증을 합니다. 국내 1호 액화수소 충전소와 이동형 충전소로 드론과 선박에 수소를 공급할 계획입니다. 동해안의 어선급 소형 선박과 산불을 감시할 수 있는 드론을 액화수소로 운전하여 어민의 환경 제고와 재난을 감시할 것입니다. 한 번 충전으로 1만 킬로미터를 갈 수 있는 대륙간 수소열차와 지상교통 혼잡의 새로운 대안으로 떠오르는 드론 택시, 해외에서 수소 수입을 위한 수소항만도, 액화수소가 땅과 하늘, 바다를 연결하는 세상, 기후 변화이기에 유일한 해답, 액화수소. 액화수소, 하늘길, 바닷길, 대륙길을 열다. 액화수소 및 수소안전으로 본 강원도의 미래를 2020 강원 그린뉴딜 국제수소 포럼에서 만나보세요.
네, 멋진
We've just started the opening ceremony of 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum with a great video. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jang Seong-in, and I'll be moderating this meaningful forum and its opening ceremony. We are opening the International Hydrogen Forum with a great weather. We've just entered into the last month of this year, December, and we all know that we've just passed the fall, which is the season of a great harvest, and it's a great honor for me to be here with you today. And as we all know, today's forum actually will be a great opportunity for us to experience the future of Gangwon province and as well as the future of the nation with the liquefied hydrogen. A simultaneous interpretation will be provided throughout the session, and those who are joining us online may enjoy the forum through interpretation service. And also, I'd like to inform those who are here of the interpretation service. And also, it's very important for us to comply with the quarantine measures. So I'd like to kindly ask you to wear the masks throughout the event. Today's opening ceremony will be composed of opening remarks, congratulatory remarks, the vision declaration, and digital signing ceremony. Let us get started with the 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum with its opening ceremony. First of all, I'd like to introduce the guests who are here with us today despite their busy schedules. Please welcome them as I introduce each and every one of the guests. First, I'd like to introduce Governor Choi Moon-soon of Gangwon Province. And we have Mayor Kim Yang Kim Sang-yong of the Gangwon Provincial Council. We have Vice President Yoon Jung-hee of Gangwon National University. We have CEO Lee Gu-young of Hanwha Solution. Let me introduce CEO Go Young-tae of Korea Gas Technology Corporation. Thank you. Let me introduce President Kang Byung-yoon of Research Institute of Medium and Small Shipbuilding. Let me introduce Dr. Svein Grander, Director of Seoul Office of Innovation, Norway. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Thank you very much. I'd like to extend my apology for not being able to introduce each and one of guests who are here with us today due to a time constraint. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to all of you who are joining us today, both online and offline. I'd like to invite President Kim Seong-in of Gangwon Technopark for his opening remark. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you sincerely to the Second International Hydrogen Forum. I would like to thank our distinguished guests, starting with our, including, first of all, the dear Governor of Gangwon Province, Governor Moon Sun-choi, who has been supporting this forum and also has been pitching for Gangwon Province's hydrogen business at the Presidential Office, the Blue House. I also would like to thank President Young Tae-go of Korea Gas Technology, also President Byung-yoon Kang of the Research Institute of Medium and Small Shipbuilding, Professor Byung-soo Kim of Busan University. Also, I would like to thank the head of Hanwha Solutions, Gu-young Lee, who will be making Gangwon the center of the hydrogen industry in Korea. I also would like to thank Mr. Won-sang Lee of Hyundai-Rotem, who will be speaking today about hydrogen trains. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Svein Grander, Director of Innovation Norway, for attending this international forum. I also would like to sincerely thank Mayor of Samcheok City, Yang-ho Kim, for providing us such a wonderful venue. This is the second International Hydrogen Forum. The first forum was last year. Looking back at last year's forum, we started a forum on hydrogen, even though Gangwon Province itself did not have any existing hydrogen infrastructure. It was driven by the will of our governor, and now we have created an hydrogen ecosystem in Gangwon Province, which was previously more famous for its potatoes. Now Gangwon Province is becoming the center of liquid hydrogen. Especially last July, we were selected as a free regulation zone or regulation-free zone for liquid hydrogen, which has opened the door for Gangwon Province being a test bed to prove the liquid hydrogen ecosystem. Unfortunately, last year we had 1,300 people. Unfortunately, this year, due to COVID-19, we have had to convert this forum mainly online. We had to reduce the number of in-person audiences. Also, many of our speakers, foreign speakers, were not able to attend due to travel restrictions. Despite all of these difficulties, we were able to still organize an international forum on hydrogen this year. We have a very core speaker list, and I am sure that everyone attending this forum today will be the key people to push and pull Gangwon Province efforts to develop its liquid hydrogen forum. Hopefully, next time this year, COVID-19 will be in the past, and we will be able to host the next International Hydrogen Forum with all of the participants actually experiencing the liquid hydrogen production, storage, distribution system, and actually riding on hydrogen-driven vessels, trains, and taxis. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause. Thank you, President Kim Seong-in of Gangwon Technopark. He just delivered a great opening remarks, and while listening to his opening remark, I was kind of touched because I just realized there must have been a lot of efforts made by the organizing committee, including Governor Choi Moon-soon, to make today's forum possible. And we've gathered here both online and offline to congratulate the bright future of Gangwon Province with its liquid hydrogen. And we have received a lot of congratulatory video messages from those who couldn't join today's forum offline. Let us take a listen to the video message sent by Honorable MP Lee Cheol-gyu. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee Cheol-gyu, and I am the MP representing Donghae, Taebaek, Samcheok, and Cheongsan constituency. First of all, I'd like to extend my congratulations on 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. It's regrettable that I cannot join the forum, which is hosted in Samcheok, a city with great natural tourist attractions, owing to unavoidable engagement in the National Assembly. However, I'd like to offer my congratulations, and also I offer my appreciation to all the parties concerned for preparing this significant event. Gangwon Province is establishing itself as a hub of the Korean hydrogen industry centering around Samcheok and Donghae. On July 6th, it was designated as a special zone for liquid hydrogen industry with free regulation and transforms itself into a hydrogen-based energy city. As the theme of today's forum, liquid hydrogen, opening the gate of sky, railway, and sea implies, I wish Gangwon Province will even become a global hub of liquid hydrogen industry, which is a new growth engine for our future. I hope you all will have a productive discussion on liquid hydrogen technology, the energy source with limitless potentials, and produce fruitful results today. I also will do my best to support the industry in the National Assembly. Last but not least, I'd like to extend my appreciation to Governor Choi Moon-soon and all the parties concerned who made this meaningful forum possible. Let me congratulate the 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum once again. Thank you very much.
Yes, please thank the National Assembly member with a warm round of applause. Gangwon is trying to become the center of hydrogen industry, not only in Korea, but also the world. And I am also cheering for that vision to come true. Our next congratulatory address is by National Assembly member Seong-in Kim. Good morning. I am National Assembly member Seong-in Kim and head of the Green New Deal activities for the ruling Democratic Party. I sincerely congratulate the 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. As all of you will know, the world is in the process of a long-term transition away from the Industrial Revolution based on oil and coal and towards a green revolution, towards renewable energy and green hydrogen. Reducing our dependence on oil and gas is not an easy process, but this is an essential task. Renewable energy is a good alternative, but renewable energy has a sporadic nature, and so when there is surplus energy generated, this needs to be stored using either ESS or green hydrogen. Once stored, this energy can be used in various applications. It can be used to drive cars, generate electricity, and also for other transportation vehicles. So this versatility also means that there is a huge potential for such hydrogen. For transportation, hydrogen needs to be liquefied, and this is not an easy process. The gas then may be converted directly into liquid hydrogen or could be converted into ammonia for transportation. The relevant technologies are still not yet mature, but this appears to be so-called a blue ocean with infinite possibilities and opportunities. I hope today's forum will contribute to the world's transition to renewable and green hydrogen energy so that human civilization may continue to achieve new heights. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause. Thank you very much for your heartwarming and congratulatory remark. I believe that we are on the same boat and we are heading toward a bright future which will be enabled by hydrogen, the liquid hydrogen. And also we have a video message from Honorable MP Kwon Song-dong, and I'll read out his congratulatory remark for him. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. I am Kwon Song-dong, and I am MP of People Power Party, and I am from Gangwon city as well. I'd like to extend my congratulations on the 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. And hydrogen is drawing global attention as the eco-friendliest energy and is being applied to various areas such as energy storage and transportation, fuel cell-based power generation, and energy source for FCEV. Hydrogen lies in the center of future industry, and the liquid hydrogen is the most reasonable form of hydrogen energy in terms of effective storage and transportation. Gangwon Province, after being designated in July as the first special zone in Korea for liquid hydrogen industry with regulatory freedom, has conducted demonstration projects or proving projects such as production and storage of liquid hydrogen, as well as the establishment of hydrogen refueling station. I will do my best to support Gangwon Province so it can realize its vision of a new hydrogen-based economy. And also, I believe that today's forum will be a precious opportunity for Gangwon Province to further activate its liquid hydrogen industry, thus achieving its goal of being an innovation hub for energy industry in Northeast Asia. Thank you very much.
We had video as messages congratulating today's international forum. All of them were supporting our efforts. Perhaps next year we will have in-person event with COVID-19 in the past. Now we will have a performance to declare the hydrogen vision that Gangwon Province has. It's a virtual reality, a VR performance. The artist will be creating a three-dimensional piece of work, and you will be able to share that experience. What is the future vision of Gangwon Province in its hydrogen initiative? We will be hearing the performance of the VR artist Peony.
자, 이곳은
This is the east of the Korean Peninsula, Gangwon Province. Gangwon Province, with its clean environment, Gangwon Province is creating a new renewable energy by using other renewable energy sources, wind and solar power.
수소 에너지를 만듭니다.
Now we will move to the next space. This is Samcheok in Gangwon province, the liquid hydrogen city. We have a plant that produces hydrogen. Also, this is a liquid hydrogen storage facility. This is a hydrogen-driven train that's operated. This is not all. This is hydrogen energy being used to drive ships. As you can see, hydrogen is being connected to mobility through Gangwon province. Now, what you see is the future of Gangwon province in year 2040, the future liquid hydrogen city. In the year 2040, in this future hydrogen city, we have hydrogen cars charging hydrogen. Also, these are hydrogen-driven air taxis. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is the vision that Gangwon province is dreaming of becoming a future liquid hydrogen center. Gangwon province will be opening the gates of the sky, rail, and sea through hydrogen. And this is how Gangwon province will be the leader of liquid hydrogen industry and become the hub of an energy innovation in Northeast Asia. Yes. There was that surprise performance by President Seong-in Kim of Gangwon Technopark. I also would like to thank our VR artist, Peony, for that wonderful performance. We have experienced a virtual reality drawing and performance to visualize what Gangwon Province's liquid hydrogen future will be like. Liquid hydrogen and hydrogen industry is the answer to the climate crisis that we are all facing. I sincerely hope that this vision of Gangwon Province becomes a reality. Next, we will have the highlight of today's opening ceremony. As you know, last July, Gangwon Province was designated as a regulation-free zone for liquid hydrogen industry, and that opened the gate for Gangwon Province becoming the center of the liquid hydrogen industry. Today, we will have a signing ceremony between Gangwon Province and the companies and institutions that will be relocating to the regulation-free zone. We will have the digital signing ceremony.
Now I'd like to invite Governor Choi Moon-soon and 6 representatives of the institutions and companies to the stage. We have CEO Kim So-young of HyReam. Please come forward to the stage. I'd like to invite the CEO Park In-gyu of JING and Vice President Im Jung-wook of Bogo Corporation, Vice President Lee Won-sung of Hyundai-Rotem, President Kang Byung-yoon of Research Institute of Medium and Small Shipbuilding, and President Go Young-tae of Korea Gas Technology Corporation, and Governor Choi Moon-soon of Gangwon Province. Gangwon Province has devoted all its strength to realize hydrogen economy and transform itself into innovation hub for hydrogen energy industry by attracting innovative companies and venture startups in the area of liquid hydrogen energy, including liquid hydrogen refueling station and demonstration. Liquid hydrogen is the only solution to climate change crisis that we are faced with, and we will proceed with the signing ceremony of the commitments made by Gangwon Province and representative companies and institutions. Let me introduce the signatories one after another and their commitments. Please give them a big round of applause. We have the commitment of HyReam industry. The commitment is to establish Gangwon Province as the starting point of the liquid hydrogen industry by establishing the first liquid hydrogen production facility here in Gangwon Province. And we have the commitment of JING, which is committed to create the hydrogen mobility refueling ecosystem through the expansion of liquid hydrogen refueling stations. And we have the commitment of a company, Bogo, to excavate and establish eco-friendly ocean transportation through the development of clean liquid hydrogen ship. And also we have the commitment of Hyundai-Rotem, which will create new form of railway using liquid hydrogen. And we have commitment of the Research Institute of Small and Medium Shipbuilding, which is committed to create the foundation for the hydrogen the energy for the oceanic and the sea transportation. And we have the Korea Gas Technology Corporation's commitment to create the oceanic transportation based on liquid hydrogen. And Gangwon Province also is making commitment to establish a liquid hydrogen industry, opening the gate of sky, railway, and sea. Now I'd like to kindly ask Governor Choi Moon-soon and the 6 representatives of institutions and companies to hold a pen and sign their commitments. I hope that the vision of liquid hydrogen opening the gate of sky, railway, and sea will be realized in near future. Please give a big round of applause. So the commitments are signed, and I am confident that the commitment that the Gangwon province and the participating companies have made today to the development of liquid hydrogen industry will bear fruitful result of new value creation for our future generation. Now we'll take a moment to take a group photo to commemorate today's ceremony. Please look at the phone. I'd like to take this opportunity once again to extend my appreciation to all the parties concerned for making today's forum and ceremony possible. We'll take another photo to commemorate the signing ceremony. Thank you very much. This concludes the photo session. You may move the stage. Thank you very much. With the signing ceremony, we renewed our determination to the development of a liquid hydrogen industry for our future. This is time for us to wrap up the opening ceremony of 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum, and I'd like to extend my appreciation to those who are joining us online. And we will clear the stage, and we'll get started with the keynote presentation and invited presentation from 11:15. While we are clearing the stage, I'd like to play a video clip of Governor Choi Moon-soon and his presentation made to President Moon Jae-in and the ministers of relevant ministries on the liquid hydrogen industry of Gangwon province. It just demonstrated that the Gangwon province will be the leader of province. We've set up the stage for the following keynote presentation and the invited presentation. We are discussing the liquid hydrogen industry for the future of Gangwon province and the nation. And we'll go deeper with the perspective of experts through the keynote presentation and invited presentations. It will be a precious opportunity for us to explore the potential alternatives to overcome the climate crisis. And the presentation materials can be downloaded in our official website after the event. Let us get started with the keynote presentation and the invited presentation for 2020 Gangwon Green New Deal International Hydrogen Forum. And it seems that there are a lot of people who are looking forward to having the presentation of Dr. Alex Ivanenko, CEO of HyPoint. He just joined us online or through the video message due to the COVID-19. Please welcome him.
Hi, my name is Dr. Alex Ivanenko, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of HyPoint. We make zero-emission air transport possible. Today, approximately 10% of overall human climate impact comes from aviation. By 2050, that is expected to grow to 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So you can't solve the problem of climate change without zero-emission air transport. But the arrival of zero-emission aviation has been limited by the energy density limitation of lithium batteries. It takes 500 watt-hours per kilogram to fly a plane 600 miles, and current lithium batteries have only about 200. This is because air vehicles are more energy intensive than land vehicles, since they need additional power to lift off the ground and during the flight. At the same time, current hydrogen fuel cells can deliver the energy density needed to power air vehicles, but fall short of the specific power requirements. Modern vehicles require 1500 watts per kilogram, but existing fuel cells deliver only 600. And we solve this issue by building the next generation hydrogen fuel cells that can deliver both high specific power and high energy density, exactly what aircraft designers are looking for. Hydrogen has never been hotter. In September, Airbus announced their plan to build a hydrogen-powered electric passenger aircraft. Other top-tier aircraft companies manufacturers are also developing zero-emission engine platforms based on hydrogen fuel cells. And these activities are supported by governments worldwide. Joe Biden and Boris Johnson announced plans that includes of dollars devoted to renewable hydrogen technology innovation and zero-emission aviation. And I'm happy that HyPoint is a part of these programs. Our new generation hydrogen fuel cell system directly disrupts $1.6 trillion aviation industry. And based on expert estimates, our technology unlocks $25 billion served available market by 2030. That will grow up to $300 billion by 2050. And all that is possible because of an exceptional team. My co-founder Brian is the father of fuel cells, and he's an inventor of high-temperature membrane. My other co-founder, Sergey, spent 15 years in fuel cell research and development, and he was a member of Ginsburg Group, who was a Nobel Prize physicist. Myself, I'm PhD in electrochemistry, but built my career in international business development at US corporations. I've been taking projects from R&D stage to fully commercialization, exactly what I'm doing right now in HyPoint. Our key advisors have been working in deep tech, aviation, and fuel cells during their entire careers. We are leading the way in global fuel cell research, and our team is able to address any complicated question and risks. And two major risks are technological risk and competition. But as I mentioned, we are no strangers to hydrogen fuel cell technology. We have already validated key parts of our technology by developing the best-in-the-class fuel cells for drones and robots. We already built and sold solutions for real business applications, grossing $500,000 last year. That product allowed us to get all necessary technologies and knowledge to develop new generation hydrogen fuel cell system specifically for air transportation needs. Sergey, please explain how it's possible to achieve so game-changing energy performance.
Our new development is based on our inventions that covered by 7 years of R&D. Our new catalyst and lightweight bipolar plate provide increase in power output and weight reduction. We are using high temperature membrane instead of low temperature, which increases the efficiency of a cooling system by at least 3 times. But the core innovation is the new system architecture, turbo air-cooled system that efficiently utilizes compressed air for both cooling and oxygen supply. That allows to exclude commonly used a liquid cooling system, decreasing the weight of the heaviest part of a power unit by 6 times. Our lead is secured by 15 patents and know-hows. Combination of these technologies allow us to deliver a truly lightweight climate-independent fuel cell with an extended lifespan and to operate the system with low-grade hydrogen, which is 5 times cheaper than purest one. As a result, our solution increases operational time and utilization rate while decreasing total cost of ownership of any flying platform by 90%. HTPM membrane has a lot of advantages in comparison with low temperature one. No humidity control or issues with water management, a lower capital cost due to cheaper membrane chemistry, ability to use low-grade hydrogen which can contain more carbon monoxide. But the main advantage is that high-temperature membrane does not require gas humidification and allows the cooling system to be simpler and lighter. Fundamentally, low-temperature PEM fuel cells can be used for air transportation because they require a heavy cooling system that is much as 2 times heavier than the fuel cells themselves. Cooling efficiency is the key problem that needs to be solved, while most developers are focused on fuel cell efficiency. We dramatically increased cooling efficiency by raising operational temperature from 70 to 160 degrees Celsius and excluding the intermediate liquid coolant at all. As a result, the specific power of our fuel cell is more than 2,000 watts per kilogram because the turbo air-cooled system is almost 3 times lighter than LTPM-1.
Thank you, Sergey, for these details. Our product is addressed to different markets which completely fits requirements for logistic drones, air taxis eVTOLs, and electric passenger aircrafts. We completed all fundamental research. And now we are assembling a short stack that will be ready to demonstrate in a few weeks. In the short stack, a lot of technological and fundamental validations are concentrated. So the short stack is a core part of the system. Based on our agreements with customers, after the successful short stack, we will build a 15 kilowatts model. Scaling from a short stack to the 15 kilowatts model is not a fundamental modification. Actually, it is the same system, but is built in the other form factor. This is mostly accurate execution of engineering work. Exactly the same work we have to do on the transition to full-scale product, because our modular approach will allow us to scale up the installation by arranging 15 kilowatts model together. That's why we are so confident that we will cover this path in a year and a half. We will be ready to deliver the full-scale 150 kilowatt system in the first quarter of 2022 for the real flight. So, we have technology, proven track record, and a team that has the potential to revolutionize the multi-billion-dollar aviation industry globally. If you would like to join us in our journey, come talk to us. Thank you.
네, 여러분 감사의 박수 한번 부탁드리겠습니다. Thank you very much for your insightful presentation.
Yes, thank you. That was a very passionate keynote Thank you very much. I think that was also a very informative session that gives many people new ideas. Perhaps next year we will be able to personally meet this keynote speaker. Now we will go into our invited speakers. I think a key topic this year has been mobility. We're talking about hydrogen-driven trains, first of all. We have from Hyundai-Rotem, Mr. Won-sang Lee. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Won-sang Lee of Hyundai-Rotem. It's a great pleasure for me to attend this international forum and to deliver my presentation in front of Governor Moon Sun-choi, as well as all of the online attendees. It's a great honor for me. What I will be talking about today is trains and trams, but those that are driven by hydrogen fuel cells. As you know, Hyundai-Rotem is a member of the Hyundai Motor Group. We are in charge of mobility such as plants and trains and rolling stock. So this is the KTX that we are currently in the process of developing. Rotem produces not only rolling stock, but we also provide E&M systems. So in terms of train or rail mobility, whether it becomes a train or a tram, we are a provider. We are also a provider for hydrogen charging systems. Since 1977, we have been exporting to 37 countries. As you can see, we have a full lineup across various operational ranges. We will be adding a lineup of hydrogen trains. Why is Hyundai-Rotem interested in hydrogen trains and trams? As you know, these hydrogen-driven electric trains are very safe, eco-friendly, and also economic. Especially these low bed or low platform trains are easily accessible by everyone. Also, trains as a concept has various advantages, especially in terms of being on time. If by adding the advantages of hydrogen fuel cells, the advantages of train as a transportation platform will become even greater. Trams are trains that are very light and are driven on rails placed on the surface of the road. So it has the advantages of trains such as safety, economicness, and environmental friendliness, but also can actually be easily integrated into existing urban environments, and therefore is a main way of reviving and activities of the city. So we have 5 modules. It's usually 35 meters long. So it's like 4 buses, or actually it can take on the same transportation effectiveness of several thousands of vehicles, or several hundreds of vehicles. So this is the unmanned tram that operates in the Shimbundang corridor. And we have around 20 local governments in Korea that are looking into tram projects. Key projects that are being considered are the Wide line in Seoul, as well as the Dongtan tram or Ulsan tram. You may wonder why trams are receiving so much attention, and that is because trams combined with hydrogen can provide a revolutionary alternative for urban transportation. And the hydrogen-driven trains or hydrogen-driven trams can create a totally new concept. Trams, as you know, is a very ubiquitous transportation system in areas such as Europe. And in the case of wire-free trams, we have already exported these to other countries. For example, right now we are producing wireless trams to be supplied to Poland, Warsaw. We also have other lineups. We have a battery-driven, cable-free tram. Also, we have hydrogen-driven trams. We could also combine these in a hydrogen format. These hydrogen-driven e-trains have various additional advantages. Because it is driven by hydrogen, you do not need any overhead cables or wires. It also does not emit CO2, so it is very eco-friendly. Because there are no overhead cables, it is cable or wire-free, so it is also better in terms of urban aesthetics. Unlike diesel-driven engines, there are various advantages, and so these e-hydrogen trains can replace diesel engines as well as high-speed trains in the long term, and has advantages in terms of being eco-friendly and also providing a better aesthetic for urban settings. This is the vision that we have. As a company, we actually want to become a contributor to creating a hydrogen-based society by developing hydrogen-driven mobility solutions. We have already signed an MOU for the Ulsan Hydrogen Tram project. We have also participated in the hydrogen tram exhibit as part of the local festival in Gangwon City. Overseas, we have been working with Indonesian or Malaysian governments about adopting a hydrogen train, as well as countries such as Canada and Poland. This is the trams that are being operated overseas. If we look at some overseas activities of hydrogen trains, as you can see, hydrogen fuel cells are being adopted in various train formats. I think the current platform that is operational is the Koradia of Alstom. Actually, this was a refit of an existing diesel engine by adopting a hydrogen fuel cell. This is the vision that we have as a country in terms of a future hydrogen society. So we have various innovations being driven by using hydrogen as the fuel source. On the bottom left-hand side, there will be more hydrogen charging stations and hydrogen supply infrastructure. And so we do not think that the hydrogen supply infrastructure will be a bottleneck in opening a hydrogen-based mobility era. And Hyundai-Rotem will be the leader of this. This is the hydrogen fuel cell that is being used on, as you can see, trucks. The hydrogen fuel cell is already being used in the hydrogen vehicle EXO. We can use the same fuel cells, for example, on different mobility platforms. That is the basic mobility strategy that we have as a Hyundai Motor Group. And there are various fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells that are being developed for other mobility platforms, including trains. And you may not be familiar with hydrogen fuel cells, and so I think it will be beneficial for me to briefly explain the basic concept. Actually, the oxygen is brought in from the air, and so the air that is being brought in goes through a 3-layer filter, and then the oxygen is met with hydrogen to create electricity. The only thing that will go out the other end is water, so it is very eco-friendly. Because there is the additional effect of purifying, filtering the air, by operating a tram for 1 hour, we actually can produce clean air that can be breathable for 100 adults. Also, it is very economical. Initial investments are relatively low versus other platforms. In the case of cars driven by hydrogen fuel cell, by year 2030, we are expecting that the operational cost would be similar to existing EVs. And therefore, the same effects will be enjoyed not only by trains, but also general passenger cars in the near future. In terms of safety, we do need to have, well, there's only one base necessary for trains. So for trains, you only need a hydrogen charging station in one center, the train base, where could also be the center for maintenance. And so in terms of safety, hydrogen fuel cell driven train offers additional advantages. As I mentioned, battery trams are already developed, so there are e-trams that are driven by batteries. There is also a hydrogen fuel cell based tram, but I don't think, unlike a vehicle, hydrogen fuel cells and batteries need to be in a competitive relationship, because these two, a hydrogen fuel cell and a battery, can be used together depending on what kind of environments the tram is operating. For example, in short distances, the tram could operate based on a battery, whereas on longer ranges, the train could operate based on hydrogen fuel cells. So there is this golden cross, which will be around 10 kilometers. Under a 10-kilometer range, the train or tram could operate based on a battery, but beyond the 10-kilometer range, a hydrogen fuel cell would have a better advantage.
Local autonomous bodies are considering the application of this new energy source, and actually their approaches can be divided in three major approaches. So it takes like 10 minutes for refueling for this battery tram approach, and once it is refueled, then tram can all the way without further refueling. Now you are looking at the energy power net. When the initial operation is made, then the battery will be the main or the primary energy source. And once it is on the track, then the hydrogen fuel cell will be used as a primary energy source. And actually, the generated energy can be stored in this battery, and this is a kind of total power net system for hydrogen fuel cell tram, and it will further increase the energy efficiency. The Hyundai-Rotem's hydrogen fuel cell tram is not a simple range extender, but it is using the hybrid approach, which is using hydrogen fuel cell as a primary power source and using the battery as an auxiliary power source. And if you take a look at the bottom part of this hydrogen fuel cell tram, you see that this is a kind of low floor tram. So there is no room to install further a battery on the bottom of the tram. And also, over the process of power generation, water is generated, and we just use the water for cooling or dust cleaning purpose. The fuel cell should be compact and should have longer life cycle with a bigger the specific power to be used for railway. And once we apply liquid hydrogen to railroad, then it will open a new potential for R&D area. And also, the hydrogen fuel cell creates heat. In addition to that, inverters and the motors also generate heat. So we need to have integrated cooling system to resolve the heat generated by hydrogen fuel cells, motors, and so on. And also, the motor is considered for PMS purpose. Now you are taking a look at the video clip of demonstration project conducted in Gangwon plant by Hyundai-Rotem. In the past, we've succeeded in developing an 15-hour curved rain operation capacity, and we have a strong competitiveness in the overseas market because we have differentiating technology from our competitors. We can be a game changer. And in the case of hydrogen fuel cell tram mobility, the general public is using this new type of transportation. And as we all know, Nexo is a Hyundai-Rotem or Hyundai Motors FCEV, and it has the accommodation capacity of only a few passengers. However, tram and can accommodate a large public, so it can be a big demonstration case for the utility of a hydrogen fuel cell. And Hyundai-Rotem actually declared its vision to realize this hydrogen fuel cell tram to a larger scale. You can see the red LED light on the wheels of the tram. We all know that the tram has 4 wheels, so actually we can make a
Korea, Japan, US. We see that developing an industry like this, it requires a good partnership between government with the right incentives, centrally as well as locally. We need strong technology R&D clusters to provide the right solutions and have continuous momentum on technology development. And we need an industry, technology vendors as well as end users that are forward-leaning and want to invest and be a part of the developments. This we do in the maritime sector in Norway. We have been, like Korea, a global, very, very forward-leaning nation for decades when it comes to smart and green shipping solutions. We have taken on this challenge, developing an infrastructure for liquefied hydrogen along the Norwegian coastline to supply hydrogen for the coastal fleet. We have the first ferry in operation on liquefied hydrogen next year, next autumn. We have several projects with European partners developing fuel cells fueled by ammonia, green ammonia. And we have various other projects also in cruise ships and in high-speed vessels in order to transmit or to take the transfer from today's maritime operations to non-fossil-based development. We have a strategy for that, and we have good international partners. So let me, in this round, just summarize by we have actually a memorandum of understanding with Korea signed by your President Moon during his state visit to Norway in 2019. We would like to develop a partnership with Korea further throughout the whole value chain, bringing down the cost, being able to scale and create an industry that is reliable and creates trust in the broad society. We need the social acceptance for this shift. And I think good partnership, like we want to develop in Korea, is a part of that. Thank you.
예, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, sir. Norway has worked on the electrolysis of the creation or the production of hydrogen fuel since 1930s or from 1927. And last year, when President Moon visited Norway, actually he signed MOU with Norway for the development of this hydrogen energy industry. I'd like to have some actual projects going on between Norway or the Norwegian partners and Gangwon province. And next, we have a panelist from Seoul City University, and we have Professor Lee Gang-hoon here. Here in Gangwon province, a lot of efforts are made along with other local cities such as Changwon or Songdo, and most of the movements made by other local cities are led by foreign and the technology companies. But here in Gangwon province, we are working on the domestic technology, particularly in the area of liquefied hydrogen and energy. So in Gangwon province, a lot of efforts are made to establish a small-scale liquefied hydrogen production facility and related plant designs. So could you please come up with any opinion on what's going on here in Gangwon province in the field of liquefied hydrogen energy? So liquefied hydrogen was introduced like 50 years ago when the U.S. launched a spaceship to the moon. Actually, the liquefied hydrogen was used as an energy source of the spaceship. So there's nothing new about the liquefied hydrogen. But what is new is how we can commercialize this new energy source of liquefied hydrogen. In the past, the liquefied hydrogen was used only for aerospace area for spaceships. But currently, we are talking about the commercialization of liquefied hydrogen, which can be utilized as energy source for our daily lives. And we are in the infant stage of commercialization of the liquefied hydrogen. And I believe the Governor Chairman soon is opening the gate to this new energy source of liquefied hydrogen, the energy. And I believe that there are certain roles to be played by central government and the local government, and also there are required roles and the actions to the research institutions and the relevant companies. Since Gangwon province is opening its gate to this liquefied hydrogen and energy source, the relevant the parties concerned should do their roles. So Gangwon province can lead the companies in the field toward the desirable direction, and the R&D centers or the research institutes also need to play along. I don't think Korea Aerospace Research Institute can do all the R&D work on its own. Rather, it should play a role of center of this hydrogen energy R&D while collaborating with the relevant the researchers and the professionals in the field. And I welcome the movement of Gangwon province, and I expect the Gangwon province will be the center or the hub of this new energy source of liquefied hydrogen. Thank you very much.
Well, Gangwon province has been designated as a regulation-free zone for liquid hydrogen, so we are currently engaged in various projects in terms of producing, storing, and transporting liquid hydrogen. And in order to make these projects successful, we would need the support of professors and experts in various fields like yourself. Now I would like to hear from Mr. Wang-gu KANG of KARI, who just gave us a presentation. I noticed that in your presentation, you mentioned there are 3 types of different UAM or air mobility platforms, such as multi-rotor or cruise platforms. In the case of multi-rotor aircraft, you said that this is already feasible, but the problem is that they can only operate a short range. But if we drive them by liquid hydrogen instead of a battery, then that range limitation will be overcome. But you explained that liquid hydrogen has various advantages versus batteries. But my question is, what are the things we need to watch out for when using liquid hydrogen on such aircraft platforms? Can you give us a very long answer, at least 5 minutes, sir? I think it was on the 11th of November, if I remember correctly. There was the first flight or demonstration of a drone taxi on the Han River, where the taxi operated for around 40 minutes. And these aircrafts have advantages. The aircrafts are easier to design, easier to produce, And a lot of the technologies that are already used on the drone platform side can be used onto these air taxis. But there are also some restrictions. They can only drive a short range. Also, once it loses power, still there has to be some safety. As an aircraft, it needs to be able to at least cruise or glide, even if it loses its propulsion power. And in order to overcome these technologies, not only CARI, but aircraft manufacturers such as Boeing are trying to use a hybrid format where there are wings and rotors being combined on the same aircraft. And so an example so these aren't very different from the multicopters, but this is, I guess, a combination of existing aircraft technology with these new propeller or drone-based technology. I think the aircraft would be able to carry around 4 or 6 passengers, be at least 15 meters or less, so that it is friendly to an urban environment. And multicopters are able to meet these requirements because it doesn't have a long wing. It can fit into limited spaces. Also, there are a lot of drifts that happen between buildings in urban environments. And these drifts can create a lot of vibration if there's a wing or larger wing. And that is another advantage of a multicopter that is rotor-based. I think the critical point when developing an airplane or aircraft, there are a couple of things. One is that the components, whether you have the right parts to develop the aircraft. If there's an aircraft that is driven by hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, first of all, you would need to have high-quality motors. There are a lot of good engines out there, but the question is whether there are good motors to drive the propeller or the rotors. So right now, because there hasn't been an aircraft, there hasn't been a lot of development on the motor side. The other challenge or bottleneck, if we're using liquid hydrogen, is the fuel cell. Because there are a lot of storage solutions, but there aren't many high-performance solutions for liquid hydrogen-driven fuel cells. I think we need at least 400 kilowatts, or at least 150 kilowatts if we're looking for 2-passenger capacity. I think in terms of the technology roadmap, we will be getting there. We would need to at least wait for another couple of years to get there. But we need to first reach that energy density to at least create an aircraft. So the fuel cell, especially a liquid hydrogen-driven fuel cell, is currently the hurdle that we need to go over. The reason why we're still using batteries despite the low energy density is because batteries have been developed enough to be reliable and easy to buy. But fuel cells are a bit more complicated, and because of that complexity, there are limitations in terms of the accessibility. And I think that bottleneck would be the fuel cell level.
Let me ask a follow-up question. So in the case of battery, it was mentioned that the battery capacity actually hinders the long-distance operation of the UAM or drones. So some ignorant people may say that we can add more batteries to the drones or the UAM, so they can fly longer. But the thing is that there is a limited load capacity of the drones. So when we study this aerospace, what we learn first is this kind of the capacity limit of drones or flying objects or aircrafts. So if we just enable a unmanned flying object or aircraft, then we can load more batteries. So it seems that there are certain limitations in increasing the flight range with the addition of more batteries. So I believe that we haven't reached the stage where we have feasible the battery with sufficient battery capacity, and it's going to take another 10 to 20 years to achieve such a level. And when it comes to the area of fuel cell, we have addressed a lot of issues in terms of scientific, the concept of efficiency. So, but the thing is that we haven't actually commercialized such kind of the fuel cell in the market, and that's the kind of task ahead of us.
Next, I have a question to our keynote speaker, Mr. Alex. He originally planned of attending personally our panel, but he was not able to travel due to COVID-19, but we were able to record his answer. We gave him our question in advance and received a recording of his answer. My first question is about the hydrogen fuel cell that they're developing, which is currently gas-based. As you know, Gangwon province is focusing on liquid hydrogen rather than gas form. And so I asked whether there is a possibility of developing fuel cells that are liquid hydrogen based. And let's hear his answer, which is a video.
Steven, thank you very much for that question. Actually, liquid hydrogen is a very promising fuel for any, not only for UAM, but also for any flying platform. And I would say that for air transportation market at all, in general. And of course, I'm really happy that in Gangwon province, you have such initiatives. And definitely HyPoint is looking forward to collaborate with these companies and establish connections with them. And you know that tomorrow we are going to place a call with one of the company which is located in that province and discuss with them potential question of the potential collaboration. Thank you.
예, 그래서 그
So I actually introduced the panel discussants to Dr. IVANENKO, and also I just mentioned that we are using the liquefied hydrogen fuel for drone operation. And Dr. IVANENKO said that he was looking forward to having a conversation with the relevant UAM and the liquefied hydrogen company here in Korea. And there was a kind of call conference scheduled between his company and the domestic company here in and the field of liquefied hydrogen energy. And we are talking about the air cooling in the production process of liquefied hydrogen. So once we use this liquefied hydrogen, then the liquefied hydrogen gets evaporated and gets put into the fuel cell, and a lot of heats are generated over the course of evaporation. So I just wonder whether this heat can be generated and utilized for fuel cell developed by HyPoint. And that was my question, and Dr. IVANENKO answered in his video message.
Yes, we definitely think and agree with that idea that cold temperature, which we can receive from liquid hydrogen when it's vaporized, we can use for cooling. And for both fuel cells, low temperature and high temperature. And of course, that approach dramatically will increase efficiency of the cooling system. It means that you can achieve higher specific power, which is very, very important for air transportation market. Thank you.
예, 감사합니다. 이게 그 줌
Thank you very much. This is not a kind of real-time Zoom connection with the Dr. IVANENKO, so his answer was relatively short. And now I'd like to invite professor from Busan National University. We all know that Gangwon Province is working on the development of liquefied hydrogen-based sea vessels. And in the opening ceremony, there was a digital signing ceremony participated by representative companies in the field, and one of the companies participated in the ceremony was Bogo, and actually the company is working on this the hydrogen. Liquid hydrogen-based sea vessels. So Professor Kim Byung-soo is conducting his research in that area. So I'd like to have his opinion or kind of useful advice. And the downside of this liquefied hydrogen energy for the sea vessel is that when we actually design this hydrogen fuel-based sea vessel, we need to actually enlarge the fuel tank size. So this high-pressure hydrogen is used for sea vessel, then we need to refuel the hydrogen once a day, and it will be such a big inconvenience in terms of vessel operation. However, if we use liquefied hydrogen, then we can refuel just once a week or twice a week. And the application of liquefied hydrogen to sea vessel would be the most reasonable form of hydrogen energy for sea vessels. Last year, in the first International Hydrogen Forum, I also participated and made a presentation, and I also emphasized the feasibility of liquefied hydrogen for sea vessels. In the Hydrogen Research Center in my university, University of Busan the Research Center of the Busan National University, we are conducting a lot of practical R&D in the area of use cases of liquefied hydrogen. As I mentioned before, we need to actually establish kind of the energy storage tank for sea vessels, and we actually need to build a negative 253 degrees Celsius container storage for liquefied hydrogen. So we need to think about what kind of design criteria should be applied to enable such kind of storage container. And when this liquefied hydrogen is applied, we need to think about the stability of the vessels. Currently, next is a FCEV to which liquefied hydrogen is used as a kind of energy source. But the liquefied hydrogen creates a lot of noises when it is used as a kind of a power source for vessels. So we are working on the improvement of the capacity as well as the performance of liquefied hydrogen, so it can be properly used for sea vessels. We also need to control the specific power created by liquefied hydrogen in order to use it to sea vessels. But the motor drive is used for this specific power control for sea vessels. We have embedded drive for the trains or cars or the buses. However, we do not have this embedded motor drives for sea vessels. Korea is a country which is leading the production of this motor drive, but we haven't actually succeeded in producing the relevant motor drives for sea vessels. And another issue that needs to be resolved is the refueling, the system. So it's kind of economically not feasible for a port authority to establish a hydrogen refueling station to refuel one or two sea vessels. So we need to actually secure relevant economic feasibility. And also, it would cost a lot for sea vessels to come all the way to the port to refuel hydrogen. Currently, the Ministry of Industry is working on a project to secure relevant economic feasibility for refueling infrastructure to be installed in the port. So this is another issue to be resolved. In my research center in the Busan National University, we are working on the development of motor drive and the liquefied hydrogen storage container as well as refueling system. It seems that Nexo requires 80 kilowatt of energy density. However, 500 to 1 megawatt of energy density should be secured for sea vessels. So currently, my research center is working on the national project, particularly in terms of the improvement of energy density for sea vessels. So the project is scheduled to be completed by 2023 with investment of 440 billion Korean won. So the battery capacity improvement to 500 kilowatt and the production of motor and motor drives to the scale or the level of 2 megawatt, along with the design of storage which can accommodate minus 200 or the negative 38 degrees Celsius. Norway is a leading country in these fields. So in terms of large-scale vessels, Korea is a leading company in terms of shipbuilding and technology. However, when it comes to this liquefied hydrogen application to sea vessels, Korea is behind 10 to 15 years to Norway or other leading countries. And currently, some local autonomous bodies, such as the city of Busan or the Gyeongsang province, are working on the project on the application of liquefied hydrogen to sea vessels. But the thing is that one demonstration or proving project doesn't mean much. We need to import a lot of key parts, such as the fuel storage container or motor drivers. However, the electric propulsion system should be imported from a leading foreign country. So we have a long way to go until we call ourselves as a country with an original technology in this liquefied hydrogen technology, which can be applied to sea vessels. So we need to have a larger number of proving projects, like 3 vessels or 5 vessels, and we have planned to catch up with the leading countries in 5 to 7 years. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Professor. We will be developing the liquid hydrogen technology, and I'm sure you have promised us several dozens of vessels that will be driven by these liquid hydrogen. My next question goes to Mr. Won Sang-lee from Hyundai-Rotem, who gave us a wonderful presentation about e-trams. My question is, when will we get a hydrogen-driven train between Gangneung and Daejin? We've been talking about 50 years, 100 years down the road, but rail, we have a history of more than 200 years. And many people talk about the 4th Industrial Revolution, but the 1st Industrial Revolution was driven by trains when you look back. It was more than 200 years ago when the 1st Industrial Revolution was enabled by trains, and we're still talking about trains in the 4th Industrial Revolution. There's a reason why we're still relying on trains. Is because trains are one-dimensional. It has a longitudinal dynamics, so the dynamics is one-directional. It just follows the guide rail, so it's number one, safe. It does not derail unless it's very exceptional cases. We're talking about autonomous vehicles, cars, but actually trains, you can actually have full autonomous operation already because it's one-dimensional operation. Also, trains are very economical. they operate on steel wheels. It has very little friction, so it has very high efficiency and economy. We're basically in an issue of energy and weight. Trains require the least level of energy to operate. Also, the resistance in terms of driving propulsion only comes at the front part of the train. All the rest of the train is free from resistance. That's why it can achieve such high efficiency and economy. Availability is also an important factor. For example, warranties for vehicles are around 100,000 miles, 10 years. But 100,000 miles is covered by a train a year. So what I'm saying is that these engines and trams, they have to operate 15 hours, for example, a day, every day, 360 days. And so it requires a high level of availability. Liquid hydrogen, therefore, is, I think, more optimized for trains, because in trains, it cannot stand still for 3 hours to get recharged because it has to go into operation. So if there is a base that can supply hydrogen, liquid hydrogen to trains, then trains will probably be the most optimized platform to use liquid hydrogen as a fuel. And it will also, again, be the best transportation means, even in the fourth industrial revolution. Currently, we are working with the fuel cell that's being used in Nexo, the hydrogen passenger car. And it is probably currently the best available. But we're currently using a air pressure of 750 bars, but we probably need to develop a platform that is more optimized for trains and not cars. We will first of all try to develop a tram. The reason why we're focusing on tram is because a lot of the tram infrastructure is already electricity driven. And also, you can for trams, you can only put fuel cells on the top, but not on the bottom, because these are low bed vehicles. Once we mass produce the trams, we will be able to probably start mass production and operation from year 2023 to cover, for example, the Gangneung to Jeojin corridor.
Thank you very much. In the midst of COVID-19, we have had a lot of difficulties in holding today's International Hydrogen Forum. Until the last day of our preparation, we wondered whether it was right to hold such a large international forum in the midst of the pandemic. But actually, today's forum and the panel discussion and presentation prove that this kind of gathering is worthwhile, despite all the difficulties that we have had in organizing. So participation in today's forum is highly appreciated. And also, I'd like to ask you to further, continue to participate in and joining your hands in further developing liquefied hydrogen industry here in Korea and in Gangwon province. This concludes our panel discussion. And I would like to take a moment to take a group photo to commemorate today's occasion or event.
자, 안내에 따라서 앞쪽으로 서주시고.
Despite a short time given to the panel discussion, but we had a lot of productive discussion on the future of liquefied hydrogen. Thank you very much. Please give a big round of applause to our presenters and the panel discussants. Thank you very much. this concludes our keynote presentation, invited presentation and panel discussion. It was such a precious time for us to learn about the efforts made by Gangwon Province and the relevant companies to realize that the future of liquefied hydrogen industry. And I'd like to take this opportunity once again to thank the participants who are joining today's session, both online and offline. This year's forum is hosted through online channel, and I hope that next year we'll get together and have a face-to-face meeting all together. The expert sessions are scheduled for this afternoon onto themes of liquefied hydrogen and hydrogen safety, and your participation will be appreciated. I would like to say goodbye to you right now, and I wish you all the best, and thank you very much.
자, 이어서 장내에 계신 분들께 안내드리겠습니다. 저희가 5찬을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 앉아 계신 자리로 도시락을 전달 드릴 텐데요. 전달 드리는 동안 코로나19 확산 방지를 위해서 자리에 앉아서 기다려주시면